Okay, so to get started on this, I just have 4 fairly large king oyster mushrooms. I got some coca-cola. Ever since I did that mushroom and sparkling water experiment, I wanted to figure out a way to really utilize these, and I think I nailed it. So one of the first things that we want to do is we want to prep our mushrooms. So for these mushrooms, to get them into like rib-like shapes, we're essentially just going to chop off the mushroom cap and the stem, just the very end of the stem, just to clean it up. You can keep the top to use for other recipes. I like to kind of just stir fry them up. They're really good, like mushroom caps. And then we're also going to slice them in half, giving us like one flat side. And you can really see how meaty and fibrous these king oyster mushrooms are. Now, I will say one of the big problems with the king oyster mushroom ribs is that sometimes they get chewy. Sometimes when you press them or you put them in a skillet and you're like really sear them, the moisture that's trapped in these mushrooms ends up steaming themselves. And when it steams, you end up with a very chewy mushroom. Very tough to bite, not really rib-like. We want something tender, and that's what this does. It's so great. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna season these. So I'm gonna use just some garlic salt on both sides. I'm also just gonna throw in just a pinch of my magic mushroom seasoning. I'm not doing a whole lot of like specific measurements on this because it's gonna be a lot of like pinches and stuff that, it's not super important that you get it right, as long as everything's just nicely covered. Then I'm gonna do some cumin. I'm just gonna do over the top. Love the taste of cumin. I'm just gonna rub that into the mushroom. And then once that's like rubbed into the mushroom really nice, I'm just gonna turn it over and repeat the process. I'm also gonna do a pinch of kosher salt on both sides as well. Now at this point, I wanna mix together my brine, which my brine is gonna be Coca-Cola and some sparkling water or a club soda. Today we're actually gonna be using a little bit of a club soda. So we have 20 ounces or 2.5 cups. I'm actually only gonna be doing probably another 1 cup of the sparkling water. I'm gonna add in a tablespoon of soy sauce, just to give it some glutamate, a little bit extra richness. And because we're doing the barbecue without the barbecue, we're gonna do a few drops, probably about a teaspoon of liquid smoke, just to give it that smoky flavor. Now these mushrooms will float, but we're just gonna pour this over, making sure that we get over the top, the cut side of the mushroom. I think that's pretty important. Now, like I said, these are floating, so I'm just gonna use some plates to kind of hold it down. Make sure these mushrooms stay submerged. There we go. And allow them for about the next hour to soak up the Coca-Cola, allow the fibers to kind of break down. Pretty excited about this. This is gonna be really good. Let's come back in an hour. Real quick, let me tell you a little bit about today's sponsor, Soundcore's new Liberty Air 2 Pros. Look at these things. These are Soundcore's new true wireless earbuds with active noise canceling and incredible sound. Now, I'm not sure about you, but life has changed here, and Monica and I are both working from home. She's making phone calls all day long, she's grinding coffee in the kitchen, and it is hard to get some work done. But with Soundcore's targeted active noise canceling, you get to choose your environment to make the ambient sounds disappear. There's outdoor mode to remove the sounds of cars driving, wind noise, transport mode, which will reduce or get rid of most engine noises, and indoor mode to get rid of a lot of those noises I was talking about, air conditioning, coffee maker. It's pretty incredible. They look awesome. They come in 4 colors, black, white, blue, and pink. And one of my favorite features is Hear ID. It's essentially a hearing test that personalizes your sound. It's amazing. So gang, click the link in the description below to pick up your Liberty Air 2 Pros. These things are amazing, and I'm really digging this blue color. Look at it. Okay, these have been marinating in their little Coca-Cola mixture for about the last hour. They look awesome. I'll tell you, this mixture smells awesome. The cumin with the Coca-Cola, the liquid smoke and everything, it just has a really nice barbecue-y smell to it. It really does. It's so surprising. So now the next step, we're gonna sear these. I wanna give them a nice outside sear, kind of like a crust, and something for like the barbecue sauce to kind of like attach to. So we're just gonna heat up a large skillet on like a medium-high heat. I'm gonna use some grapeseed oil and then quickly sear these on all sides. Make sure they have a good sear and crust all the way around. And don't dump out that Coca-Cola mixture yet. We're gonna use some of that to kind of thin down a barbecue sauce and kind of make sure that those flavors all stay together. So the power just went out in the middle of filming this video, which means I have no lights, which means I have no stove to cook. So the mushrooms might be a little bit messed up for Monica and I's taste test. The power's been out for, 15 minutes now. I'm hoping it comes on pretty quick and it doesn't take like too many hours, otherwise those mushrooms are gonna be destroyed. Wow. Power's back on. Let's get moving. Okay, so first thing that we have to do before we throw these in the oven is I'm gonna give them just a quick score. This is gonna help with their texture, and I'm just gonna do a cross pattern score across the top. I don't know about you, but that is looking meaty. That is looking super meaty. So for these mushrooms, again, I want them to be very meaty and smoky. I'm gonna do probably a 1/4 cup of barbecue sauce and then a 1/2 cup of our Coca-Cola seasoning mixture that we used in the beginning. It's gonna thin this out quite a bit. This is gonna be a very thin sauce initially. And then all we're gonna do is just pour this on, making sure it's getting down into those little cracks. We can even use a brush to kind of brush it in. Now we're just gonna save a little bit of that barbecue sauce for the end, but I'm gonna throw this in the oven. It's been preheated at 350 degrees. We're gonna cook these for about 20 to 25 minutes. Baste them about halfway through while they're cooking. Just give them a little brush of that sauce, make sure it's sticking. It's been that 20 minutes. These look unbelievable. What do you think, baby?
Yeah, I'm excited to dig in.
I know, you're really excited. You love mushrooms. You loved the Guga experiment where we did the sparkling water mushroom. That came out great. How do you think these are gonna be?
I think they're gonna be amazing. I mean, they just look amazing.
I know, okay, so.
Barbecue-y. I love this.
The texture is awesome.
Yeah, meaty, chewy.
Hot.
The texture's great. It's a mushroom, but it tastes like a rib. Like, to me, it's good. It's a good like substitute.
And you can see that, the texture is just so meaty.
Really good.
Yeah, I'm digging that. And there's no like Coca-Cola taste, in the actual rib itself. It's like the liquid just kind of, just look at how meaty these are.
They're really good.